Monday. Futurist Jim Carroll here from the virtual broadcast studio with another inspirational recap. This one's actually going to cover 2 weeks because I didn't do it last week because it was a crazy week. I had a 72-hour trip over to Ostend, Belgium and back for an in-person event. I'm going to talk about that at the end because it was one of the coolest events in my 28-year-long speaking career. So what's this all about? Well, look, every single day, Workday since August 2016, I've been putting out my daily inspiration. It's a post in which I talk about trends and talk about the future and talk about motivation and talk about disruption. You know, it's just something I do with my morning coffee every single day. You can see this week's, last week's and the week before running here in a little video show. Just it gets me thinking, and I've got about 50,000 people picking this up now on various social networks and email lists and blogs and other locations. People are starting to really enjoy this. And what I'm doing with this little video recap is I'm just sort of summarizing the thought process that led to some of these quotes. Now, you can find all of these at inspiration.jimcarroll.com. Go to that webpage, inspiration.jimcarroll.com, and you'll find them all there. Going back years and years and years, I'm almost up to 1,500 of these things. Every morning, 6 a.m. with my morning coffee. You can join the mailing list on that page, and I just send out a simple little email every day. You get the quote, you get the story behind the quote. I don't use it for spam. I don't use it for anything else. You can also follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Substack, 2 Facebook locations, and probably something else that I'm missing. And just is my daily inspiration. It's my thing. So what were we covering? Oh, there's the thing about the mailing list. Go there, join up for the mailing list. I mean, it's really growing. People are having a lot of fun and getting a lot of good feedback. Inspiration.jimcarroll.com. So a week ago, Monday, I started out with this one. Don't be afraid to ask dumb questions because the answers you might actually get might not actually be all that smart. And what I was trying to refer to here was I find a lot of people when it comes to disruptive trends or the future, they sort of get into a mindset in which they become stuck to their reality and they're unwilling to accept another reality. And so they are prepared to state that their reality is the only reality. And you might not want to ask, a question because the ingrained attitude, the culture that is there is so much that this is the only right way. You don't want to look dumb. People don't like to look dumb. People don't look to look foolish. People don't like to ask questions where, they might not appear too smart, but sometimes you need to ask dumb questions because you can't presume that the answers you're going to get are actually the right answers and that they're actually smart answers. I think there's some word for wisdom there. A week ago, Tuesday, shiny object syndrome. What's that? It's what happens when you are so busy chasing the next hot new thing that you lose sight of the real things that matter. Look, I'm flying to Key West tomorrow. I've got a conference of credit union executives on Wednesday morning. What are they asking about? Well, all the hot, crazy new trends, NFTs and digital apes and Bitcoin and blockchain and cryptocurrency and Web 3.0 and metaverse and all the stuff which is just incessantly hyped right now. And I think what is going on here is, people are chasing these shiny objects. And certainly this is something that has come up in the conference call, planning calls with the CEO of this group of 500 CEOs of credit unions. They want to know what's going on. And this is part of what I'm going to talk about. There's trends that are out there. We need to pay attention to them. But, sometimes we're too busy chasing the shiny objects to pay attention to the real trends that matter. And those real trends that matter might be the fact that, in the credit union space, members have greater expectations in terms of customer member service because they're all used to dealing with Amazon and absolutely excellent customer service. They're used to, far more mobile interactions. So if you're not paying attention to the trends that matter, you're paying attention to the shiny objects, you do yourself a disservice. The Wednesday rolls around. Don't let the future freak you out. You should be freaked out if you can't align to the speed at which it is occurring. And this sort of came about as a result of the conference call with the credit union folks. They're aware of the trends. They know what is happening out there. Their real issue, and I talked about this with them, and this is what my talk in Key West is going to focus on, is the whole issue of the timing of the future. Given all these trends, how can we assess when is the future going to happen? When is it actually going to become real? When can we judge that any real trend is something that is critical? And in the context of that, how can we ensure that when the future happens slowly, but then all at once, how do we make sure we align to it? So you'll notice a lot of what I talk about is the issue of the speed of change, the speed of trends. If you're not aligning to the speed with which some trends suddenly crystallize and become real, you should be freaked out. Thursday, a week ago, rolls around. What do you need to be thinking about right now? Well, what you need to be thinking about are the things you haven't thought about yet. You can never not know enough new stuff. This was playing into a talk which I actually did in Belgium last week, which was all about the future of careers, future of skills, future of knowledge. More about that in a moment. But, this was playing in my whole theme of just-in-time knowledge, getting the right knowledge at the right time for the right purpose. And continually learning, because there's so much going on out there. You've got to be, ensuring that you're on top of everything. And that includes ensuring you're on top of stuff that you don't even know you yet need to be on top of, if that makes any sense. Friday, sudden surprise, stun, shock, bolts from the blue. These are leading indicators of leadership failure. I mean, I find so many organizations, sit back and go, whoa, where did that come from? I didn't see that coming. No one told us about that. Well, we did tell you about that. We did tell you about these disruptive trends. We did tell you that your industry was going to change. You're just not paying attention. I'm always staggered by the number of senior executives and major organizations who are simply surprised by the future. And you can point this right down to a leadership failure where they should know better. And if you find an organization that is surprised by what is going on, bail out, because that's just leadership failure. I mean, that's what it's all about. Monday last week rolls around. It's not just the journey; it's the negativity barriers that you'll break along the way that count. And if you look at the post, I put in here some of the things you're told as you try to reinvent yourself in the line of the future and do great things. You'll fail for sure. It will never work. It's pretty futile. You're such a loser. I mean, we are confronted on a regular basis by people who are prepared to beat us down and tell us we can't do the things we're trying to do. And I mean, you just ignore the idiocy. Just do what you got to do. Tuesday last week's around. The thing you complain about are probably the things you need to fix. I don't like whiners. I don't people who complain. I don't like people who get into that mindset. We didn't see that coming. Nobody told us about, that was going to come. And, I'm just going to whine about the fact my future changed and no one told me about it. Just stop whining. Like, really, it's not a good look. Wednesday rolls around. It's the unacknowledged mistakes of yesterday that become the barriers to moving forward today. This is about the automotive industry. This is about the retail industry. And, we're hearing a lot of car companies make excuses today. They can't ship cars because, the chip shortage. But it's not just a chip shortage. Go to chip-shortage.jimcarroll.com and you'll read, my perspective on a real part of the story. And that is that, look, cars are shipping with chips from 2004. The car companies haven't kept up to with the fact that their industry has turned into a technology industry, a computer-driven industry. And the failure that they're having in not being able to assemble vehicles because of a shortage of chips is because they haven't aligned to the reality of the speed of change of what happens when your industry becomes a technology industry. So, whining, complaining, it's just, I think what I'm driving at here is you can spot organizations that are failing at the future by what the senior executives say and the excuses they're prepared to make. It's and they don't acknowledge these mistakes. Yeah, we had it wrong. We realize we did it wrong. We got to do better going forward. Thursday rolls around. I actually wrote this one and put this one together while flying overseas to Frankfurt on Wednesday night. It's never too late to become the person you always want to be. Look, it's exciting to get back into stage presentations. It's exciting to travel. It's exciting where I can finally get back into the place where I have a lot of fun, and that is talking to people about the future trends, innovation, creativity. And this was just a pure out motivational post. I had a little bit of fun writing it. Go and read it. Inspiration.jimcarroll.com. Friday rolls around. Look, we had a 72-hour trip to Brussels. My wife and I traveled over. What I was doing was I was speaking at a conference of human resource recruitment professionals and talking about the future of jobs and careers and skills and, will people want to go back to work and all that type of stuff. And my post was geared to that theme that morning. And it was trying to say to them, look, you're going to have to recruit people for jobs not yet in existence based on skills not yet developed. And you need to do it yesterday because change is happening so quickly. That's the reality of the skills issue going forward. New jobs, new careers, the more rapid emergence of new knowledge, the disappearance of existing knowledge, the micro skills, just-in-time knowledge. I mean, I covered all of these things on stage. Here's what was so cool about it. Here's a picture of the stage over in Ostend, Belgium, which is on the North Sea, west of Brussels. We actually built, the client built me a green room on stage. And the idea was that I was going to do the presentation, pretending I was in Toronto. I was doing a virtual presentation. They had it blacked out with a black curtain. No one could see me. No one knew I was there. I was kind of hiding. And I had my virtual broadcast studio, just like I have here. You know, if you look at what is behind me here, I have this great big green room with a whole bunch of gear, a whole bunch of technology, with the magic technology. And all of a sudden I got, fascinating stage presentation. So they built me a virtual broadcast studio over there with all the gear. And I filmed this video backstage while the conference was starting. And you can see it. And what I did was I did a show where I started out like this, talking about, the future. And I'm, in my home outside of Toronto, Canada. And I'm, going to talk to you about the future of skills, careers, knowledge, all that type of stuff. And about 7 minutes in, while I was doing my virtual talk, we had them raise the curtain. And people realized I was really there on stage. And I got to tell you, this was one of the coolest moments of my speaking career. The audience cheered. We've got it on film. I've got the backstage presentation on film. I'm going to turn this into a little production. But look, it was a really cool moment. What we were trying to emphasize here was when it comes to being the employer of choice, you've got to have a digital image, digital presence. People are going to be very discerning about who they're going to work for, and they're going to want to work for someone who's with it when it comes to your virtual presence. And what I was trying to emphasize was, perhaps a virtual broadcast studio like this is going to be a part of that. So those were the 10 daily inspiration posts that I put out there over the last 2 weeks. You can find them all at inspiration.jimcarroll.com. There's also every single post. You can access them, read the full text, read the full story behind them. Join up. I love new members of my mailing list. Inspiration.jimcarroll.com. Sign up. You'll get a little daily email. And here's a fun. Oh, look at that little transition. My camera bounced around. Fun little video here where it has all these clips from the last 2 weeks. I'm going to dump that out on my website as well. Off to Key West in the morning tomorrow for a keynote to 500 credit union CEOs. Wednesday morning, and in Atlanta next week for a talk on the future of manufacturing. So in-stage presentations are coming back. I'm still doing this thing in the virtual broadcast studio because there's still virtual events happening. So I'm sort of caught in this weird hybrid. So a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to close with the video replay of the quotes from the last 2 weeks. Have a good one. Futurist Jim Carroll from the virtual broadcast studio.